Y'all are not ready for this moment. You're just not. I've been waiting for this dude to drop an album ever since Crew came out, and this dude's been teasing with EP after short little EP after short little project. I don't want to hear about that. I want an album, all right? I say I want an album, you drop an album, Fuck the World comes out, I want to fuck the world. Not really. This dude Brent, to me, as far as R&B goes, is going in a completely separate direction, not to an area that's not been explored yet, because, you know, his vibe is very 90s-esque, very 90s aesthetic, but it's a much more refreshing take on R&B, even though it's already been explored, than a lot of the R&B that's taking from trap, taking from hip-hop, taking from synth pop. Y'all all know the type of people I'm talking about. I love them all, but I'm tired of hearing that all the time. I want to hear an album that's just in its own kind of world. So fuck the world. I'm ready. Bro, chillin'. Cigarette in the hand. I hope that's not a cigarette, my guy. First track is Skyline.
You know what this world go around.
No, but you can tell me. I love it. I heard you the first time when you said it in a high-pitched voice. I didn't need this one. I did need that. Never mind. It's like a... It's a... That was a very surreal, very... chill, laid back, but powerful opener. I love how he's using his voice and kind of just, like I said, staying in his lane and not necessarily trying to alter the way he delivers his voice to fit the tone of whatever subject matter he's tackling. The first track here, we see he's talking more about, you know, what connects us. The things that we do have such a huge effect on one another. But again, this could be tackled in a much different way vocally, but he doesn't change his style or aesthetic to fit the content. And I like that about him. I like that he's just doing his thing. Next track is Clouded. Just do it.
Leave it all for fantasy. Is anybody going? I just pray they don't forget my name. These are game rules. I'm 30,000, 40,000.
50?
How much I'ma spend?
Oh, you didn't get the 50.
Fuck on the floor like I don't give a fuck about it.
I'm sorry. The one thing I'll never get down with you R&B singers is fucking on the floor. I know 9 times out of 10, especially if you in New York, you probably got hardwood floors. What the fuck is wrong with you? I know it's been a long day. You got the bed, you got the couch, you got the counter, but never the floor. Never the floor.
I was fucking superstars when I was 19.
This is
if we did, you won't believe me.
You see? You
now
can't.
I'm at the turn up looking lonely. Quiet at them house parties.
I'm sorry, but when you've done everything at a young age, just certain things just don't bring the fun out of you anymore. They just don't. You've seen most, I'm not going to say you've seen it all, but you've seen a lot. Whether that be gang violence, violence in the street, whether that be exposure to women at a young age. When it comes to having this great time and you finally reach the top, certain things that you want, you've already experienced these things. You've already seen what these things do. Seen yourself react to these situations in ways that, you know, it might not hit you the same when you're 20, when you're 21, 22, mid-20s, late 20s. It's not going to hit the same way. So just be mindful of that, especially if you have a group of friends and you see one of them, they might not be into the same things that you're into. They might not be impressed by the same things that you might be going after. And it's not because they're an asshole. It's not because they're trying to be different. It's not always because they're trying to be cool. Just maybe because they've been there and they've done that already. And it don't mean that much to them no more. That's all. So when he says, I'm still here smoking with my OG, it's like the stuff that the things that are important to these guys, especially in the mainstream, it don't mean nothing to me. That's why I just do me. I don't do them, I just do me.
I don't know I'm fighting demons. I feel like dying every season.
That's fucked up.
Bitches know I'm leaving some point.
No, don't loop it like that. Please tell me. He did. He's an asshole. Clouded. Another great track. I like this. I like this aesthetic a lot. I like he's keeping to himself. He's doing his own thing. We got his aesthetic here, which is very intimate. It's set in a way that will probably be misleading to most. Like it's romantic, like he's trying to serenade you or something, when really he's just explaining things the way he sees himself at his best and it comes off really natural and organic the way he's doing it. It doesn't seem like a force. It just seems like him. I like that. I like that a lot right now. Next track is Been Away. I'll be honest with you though, these beats could be a bit more interesting.
I'm just trying to get my pay. Just wanna fuck with you.
I'm trying not to pause it too much, but everything the dude's saying right now, it really resonates, right? He's like, it's like I've been away. I haven't been around you. I haven't been with you. Don't give my shit away, right? Don't give my possessions, my property, the things that I might have left at your house. Don't throw it away. Don't give it away. Just keep it right there. I'm trying to make sure my people are straight. But at the same time, I know I've been away. Like, I've been away. I've been acting away toward you. I know I've been acting distant. I've been acting doing my own thing. But don't give my shit away. Meaning, don't give your body away. That body belongs to me. Now, in a perfect world, of course, what he's saying is misogynistic. Of course, what he's saying is quote-unquote sexist. But when you feel a certain way in these types of relationships, especially when you know somebody is really into you, like, don't take my distance or my silence as some lack of care. I might not express it the way you want me to or the best way, but you hold a place. You do. You hold a place. I'm taking care of a few things, but don't give my shit away. I fuck with that. I do. I know it's a little immature, but the emotion is there. I feel the emotion.
Just step out, you duck it out. Would you be here to the end? But I would never lie to you. On my
maybe. I know this project says fuck the world, but it feels really down to earth, which makes it really easy to connect to. There's not much in its way when it comes to production styles or even his vocal choices. I think it's just really easy to break into. The last track is just, it's so easy to interpret. Like, it just, I know what you're saying. I know what you're trying to say. Next track is Fuck the World, Summer in London. Some really woozy instrumentals here.
Open your mouth, you speak good to me.
Don't.
Cause I fuck you, that don't mean I trust you, I don't. You got some high hopes.
Not gonna lie, this voice ain't for me. So I was liking the track, you know, initially, and then the voice, the vocal effect, you know, the pitch really got to me after a while. I don't get why people that have vocal chops don't just, you could have just sang for the remainder of that song and I would have been into it, but the pitch really took me out of it wholeheartedly. The subject matter isn't too far removed from what I thought he would be speaking about on that track, but that vocal effect just didn't do it for me. Going to the next track, you know, it's no biggie, even though I'm really disappointed that he didn't just go on ahead and sing.
When they tell me I can't love myself, why do we act this way? Why don't we make it easy? My heart can't take. Why do we hurt one another?
So I feel him, you know, when you take your heart out of your quest to build, you know, trying to dead issues, you basically have to do everything, you know, solve conflicts, try to diffuse situations with love at the front of your mind. Despite your fear, despite your want to protect yourself, you cannot seek or request something from someone else unless your heart is also involved, unless love is at the forefront. Essentially, it's like, who can I love if they tell me I can't love myself? So like, if I can't love a stranger who quote unquote may essentially be me, how can I love me, if that makes sense? That may be where he's going with it. It might not be. But the instrumental here, I think, is a little blah. And I also think the hook here goes on for way too long. It's really repetitive. Obviously, it's what a hook is. But when it comes to, you know, the lack of vocal manipulation going on here and the lack of a high I feel like the hook should have, it just goes on for, it stays way past its welcome for me. Next track is Soon As I Get Home, Interlude. I love when singers that I really want to hear music from release interludes on really short albums. I love that.
Home, but soon as I get home, you gon' ride to infinity. Life on the road, but soon as I get home.
You know what's crazy? That track actually gave me insight into what my underlying kind of bubbling issue with the project so far has been, and that is a lot of it sounds like an idea. A lot of it sounds like it's not complete though. Like some of these tracks feel like rough drafts or song ideas for a fully realized song later on. A lot of them don't seem complete or like they were meant to be finished due to the lack of verses, I feel like, or maybe just how much the hooks generally take up of the song and how his vocals kind of act like random sparses or breaks in the song that don't really have any predictability. And that's good to not be predictable, but or using your vocal chops from a distraction from the fact that the song topics aren't really written with a ton of depth, I think is what he's used to his strength. But on this interlude, we see like it's pretty much just stretched out, you know, one couple lines stretched out into a long song or a longer song. Still got great vocals, still really like the first 3 tracks, I think 4 almost, but we're getting into the wire. It's only 10 tracks here, so I'm hoping for just a couple more change-ups before we close this project out. Oh, and the next track I've already heard, Rehb, Winter in Paris. Great track. Great choice. Let me show y'all a little something, right?
Baby, thinking you a lady, but at home. I've been working all day. Dark out and come home, blow your back out. I hope that's okay.
Cause she's addicted to the drugs, he's addicted to her, she's the drug for him. I figured it. Track number 8 is Bluffin.
I could be nothing at all. There's nothing there. I ain't your one and only. But all you do is beat you down. But you stick around.
Alright, Bluffin's a cool track. I think a lot of the songs rely like heavily on his voice, and musically I think that's where the production could kind of be utilized in a better way, because the production is really low tone, low energy, and Brent Faiyaz is consistent with his 90s R&B aesthetic, and I think that's great, but the production really should be utilized for tracks like this to kind of bring forth some more energy or more, you know, suspense to the actual song. You know, something like this where you're kind of on the sidelines of a relationship dealing with a woman that's in an abusive situation that you might not want to fully engage in because you don't know her emotional state towards the man, you don't know his emotional state toward her, if he's willing to go further than that, if you intervene. There's a lot to be considered there with the topic that he's discussing, and at the same time to not have a backdrop that kind of emphasizes that suspense and that confusion and that emotional instability of what is she going to do next? Am I just here to act as a stand-in for him when he's gone, or when she says that she doesn't want to deal with him anymore and then she gets back with him because she's emotionally attached even though he is hurting her? Like, there's a lot to be considered with a track like this and with the writing that I don't think was considered from a production standpoint, and that's really my only disappointment. Other than that, I think it's written reasonably, but yeah, it's just a little underwhelming production wise. Track number 9 is Lost Kids Get Money. Already got a track starting in reverse. That's nice.
Drop a song and these famous bitches love it. Looking at me for, should be looking at paper. Looking at me for, should be looking at paper.
I like that.
Fucking soldiers get paid. Hoes from like 2010. Too much to lose. Fucking on these fans. My dudes, plus I never
I really like that track. It was a slow builder, but I like it. And I also like his lack of direction. He's saying kind of like on this track, he doesn't know where to go next. And that's kind of the difficulty in his position where it says, Lost Kids Get Money. You're handing me someone who's, when you know, when you're younger, people tell you your trajectory, like this is what you're supposed to do when you get to this point, and this is what you're supposed to do when you get to this age. And then when you grow up, everyone doesn't grow up the same. You might have certain things that happen to you again, premature. So by the time you get to a certain age, you're looking for other things. You're looking for satisfaction and euphoria in a different space, in a different world. And all the time, it's not in conventional ways. So you are a lost kid with money. You're young. You're considered a kid by executives, by people that are in much higher positions than you are, I'm sure. So I would consider, you know, and a lack of counseling usually, because the people that you're looking out for haven't been in the position that you're in. They're not in a position where they can give you advice. So you are essentially a lost kid with a bunch of cash in your wallet and a bunch of cash in your bank account. So it's hard to maneuver and navigate and figure out what's going to give you satisfaction in a world like that, and what people are looking at you for, what people want from you. It's understandable. But that what you're looking at me for, and the whole ambiance of that track, the background is really bright. You know, it's got some momentum to it, kind of like you're throwing money wherever throughout the entire day. I really like that track, and I'll definitely play that again. That's definitely one of the best tracks on here. Final cut is Make It Out, but it's an outro. Thanks. So that was Brent Faiyaz' Fuck the World album. And I'm mixed. Like, I definitely like this. Its aesthetic is exactly what I'm looking for in R&B right now. Like I said, considering everything that's going on with trap's inclusion and hip-hop's inclusion in the R&B, and, you know, synth pop and art pop, you know, a lot of that is great, and I think that's cool, but I really like the throwback 90s aesthetic. Regardless of subject matter, he keeps that aesthetic for all the tracks, and I do like that about him. They do have a bit of a nostalgic feel to them, even though they're new cuts. I think one of the things that's the most jarring is his vocal decision-making process with the album, because he peeks in randomly at moments where you wouldn't expect him to come in, and I don't think that's a bad thing. I enjoy hearing him, but a lot of the times those moments where he peeks in act as distractions from the lack of direction that a song might have. They might distract you from the fact that maybe more lyrics should have went right here, maybe a stronger hook could have went right here. He definitely plays to his strength of making the world his own and then peering in, opening the door and closing it when he feels like it. But rarely is he sat in that space for the entirety of a track. You know, that's why a lot of it feels like he can randomly come in. That's why a lot of it feels a little unpredictable. But I think on the tracks where he really hones in on a consistency, he's great. He's fire. From track 1, the intro, to track 2, to track 3, the track before the last one, we got Fuck the World. Oh, not Fuck the World. I think it's wintertime or summertime in Paris, I believe. But tracks like Soon As I Get Home, yes, it's an interlude, but it sounds like a song idea that shouldn't have been put on the album. A couple other tracks here that feel like ideas and rough drafts that wouldn't end up making a final cut for an album. The background is a little too chill on certain tracks that have subject matter that you would assume someone would be a bit more dramatic for. Vocally, I like his consistency, but sometimes I think he can be a little too chill, whereas on other tracks it works perfectly. Like I said, he's got the vocal capability. I've heard him on the Sunder EP on the intro, where he's talking about, you know, his mom having issues with his performance in school on the first track, and his performance vocally there was really bright, really vibrant, really explosive. So knowing he has the capability, I was just a little disappointed by the fact that he didn't go into further vocal versatility on this track or on this album. But some of it works to his benefit, others to his detriment. And I think you really just have to pick and choose which songs you like and which songs you don't. But I got about a good 5 or so tracks, at least half the album, that I think I could keep with me and take on like a road trip, have some Brent Faiyaz playing in the back, that I can heavily relate to, and that give me a bit of a personal kind of connection with the artist himself. And there's like a little underlying narrative here, dismissing the world, but at the same time being a part of it while trying to change it or alter it. While at the same time being lost, while at the same time not knowing exactly how to go about doing that. And the album feels that way too, a little confused every now and again. So I definitely think it's a cool listen. If you like R&B, you like Brent Faiyaz, I definitely think this is a decent project. Is it his strongest performance? I think it's at least on par with everything else that he's made so far, but I think he can do better. I think he can do better, and I enjoyed this, but there's definitely, like I said, room for improvement. But yeah, that's how I'm feeling on Fuck the World with Brent Faiyaz. Cool album. That's about it. Let me know how you felt about it in the comment section down below, and I will see y'all in the next one. I'm out. Peace.